Hello again. Today I'm going to tie for you a pattern that builds on the techniques from previous videos. This fly uses a loop technique to make a soft emerging body on a pattern that's probably best described as the Last Chance Cripple emerger. Add the word variant because it is different. As always, it's easier to tie than I'm about to make it look, but it will fish well. So kind of scrolling through the materials, you notice that we're going to reuse the moose hair and sulky, and we're going to add a shock this time. You saw some Coq de Leon for tail fibers, and you saw the gray poly at the beginning. We're going to use that for a wing. So here we are starting the thread about a third of the way back. I like to think of tying this fly in thirds, the rear portion of the body. I want to make that about a third of the overall body length. And what we're trying to do here is, this is a fly that it's near the surface. It's about to emerge, and it gets partially through the process, and it may get stuck, it may get crippled, or it may just look vulnerable at that moment. And it's something a little different from what the trout are maybe focusing on. So we tied in a piece of sulky, that pearl material that we use. And here we are tying in a clump of Coq de Leon fibers. I bought an entire neck of Coq de Leon at a fly shop for, I think it was $20. So you can buy little tailing packs, and but this neck is almost the same thing. The little tailing packs tend to have stiffer and longer fibers, but I found this neck to be very useful and very cost effective. So here we have a little bit of golden colored Zelon, kind of a honey colored Zelon that I'm going to add in. You do this often on a pattern where you want the tail to look like part of the shuck is kind of back there dragging along. And I'll snip off some of those stray fibers and cut everything up near that 2/3 mark. So I've selected 4 moose hair fibers, body hair fibers. We've been using those for the last couple of patterns, and I like the way they make the back section of the body. Now let's use 3. You see one broke off on me, but it comes out just fine. And it's probably why we choose 4 in the first place, in case one gives way. But yeah, this rear section of body is, in the end, it's just a hollow shell or an empty shell once the mayfly emerges. So, and as always, when using these fibers, it works out pretty nice where you have a couple of dark ones and a light one, and you get that ribbed or segmented effect. So then we've kind of worked our way back to where we want to tie those off. May have gone a little further than you need to go, but again, thinking in thirds and overlapping a little bit, so that there's you don't leave gaps in between as you change materials. And by winding the moose hair toward me and the sulky in the opposite direction, there's the added strength you get. And then I kind of coat it all with Sally Hansen's anyways, hard as nails. So that back section is about as durable as you can make a fly and have it still float. Add in a whip or 2 so that we can use the rotary feature And I went back and forth on that little piece of sulky. I clipped a hackle plier to it and then put it back in the holder. At this point, this is the little trick that I want to focus on for this fly. So I make a double dubbing loop, hook it around my shepherd's hook twice, and tie it off. And that's what we're going to use. We're going to spin some dubbing in between that loop. And that's what we're going to use to build that soft emerger body. Yeah, another couple whips just to keep things in place. I'm being extra careful here because I'm in between the camera and moving things around. And I think with a lot of room and once you have the routine down, you wouldn't have to stop and whip finish or put half hitches in between each step. There's our Sally Hansen's, not too much. Let it kind of dry and shrink. And the sulky got away from me. Some of you guys make this look so easy, but I don't know. Something always seems to slip out of a hackle plier or move around or something happens. So here we're adding just a little touch, probably about a 2-inch long section of a darker dubbing that's going to kind of fill in the gap underneath the emerging body. Probably look like part of that broken open shell, maybe a little bit of the nymph legs and whatever else is kind of hanging loose in that area as a mayfly emerges. Tighten up the end and a couple of wraps to finish in front. So there I put a 3-turn whip finish, and I'll make a confession here in a second. So I kind of pulled the thread out of the way. And as we go, as I'm filming, I'm trying to decide, am I going to try to spin up this body in between the hook and the camera? Am I going to do it holding it vertically or up and down or whatever the case may be? You'll see as we go. So this is just some long stapled, it's called Hairtron, so it's got a little bit antron in it and a little bit of, I think that's just kind of a blonde rabbit fur. And when you spin it up, it kind of wraps pretty tight. The longer staple is supposed to make it look more like a tight body. But you'll see I have a lot of stray hairs here. I'm not sure that they're a problem. I think they add a little bit of interest. They definitely soak up floatant as you use this fly. But I trim off the longest ones. In the next step, I want to rib this emerging body with that sulky. And this was part of the challenge. So I'm sitting there looking at this thinking, should I pull it back toward me to keep it on camera? Should I hold it straight up? Can I do it without the rotary feature? How am I going to do this? So I changed my mind midstream and changed the hook and the vise to be vertical. And I'm going to use the rotary feature of the vise at this point. And had I planned ahead, I would have realized that I already whip finished and that thread's not going to turn well in the bobbin as I rotate the vise. Here, I think I was still thinking I could wrap this manually. And then made the final decision to cut the thread off. And So here we go. We're finally doing what we set out to do. And that's, we're going to rib that emerging body with the sulky. Makes it a little more durable, adds a little bit of shine, makes it segmented. And I want to do at least a hook length worth of this soft body. And then I'll kind of pinch it and clip it with hackle pliers to hold everything together. My narration's getting a little ahead of the video here, but and I can trim all that stuff out of the way. So I'll put the hook back in the vise in the correct orientation. The shank back on center. And it's just out of the shot here, but I have one of those little hair clips around my vise. And the ears on the hair clip, the clip itself is very functional, but the ears on the hair clip are make a nice place to hook the thread in a bobbin when you're hooking it back out of the way, or in this case, that hackle plier kind of sits right around there. So I've started my thread again, and I can flip the body up over and make that loop. This is what we were after. And you can see I fiddle with it a bit here and kind of bend it around and pick at the longer fibers. And you can see it's pretty durable though. And in fact, as it gets chewed up, I think it actually fishes a little better because, you know, this is a damaged mayfly, or could be. I think I was twisting it to kind of keep things on top and in the center. And there's that gray polypropylene yarn. I kind of like that. It has that little blue-gray tint to it and comes in handy on some of the blue wing olives or certain patterns that they're not quite translucent or white. So I like the gray. But I started behind the eye and worked my way back. I already had it kind of trimmed to length. And I'm tying in the hackle. Grizzly saddle hackle. That's a size 14 hook you probably saw as we panned through the materials at the front, at the beginning. And about 3 or 4 wraps, bring it up there near where we're going to tie it down. And here you saw the editor got carried away there. What happened was I held the hackle out and took a couple of wraps over the top to tie it down, and I had my thumb in the way the whole time. So I kind of cut the close-up of my thumb out of there, but basically I just took 2 wraps over the top and then trimmed the remainder of that saddle hackle. Now I'll pull everything back out of the way and put in about a 6, or I think I may have gone an extra turn here, but a solid whip finish to hold that wing up out of the way so it doesn't block the eye when we're trying to tie it on. And here I'll mention, you'll see me come in with different scissors and from both sides. I'm left-handed, so I can use both hands, and I'm just trying to grab what is most convenient to get in and out of the shot without bumping the camera. There's no magic to that. And there I fan the wing out, kind of flatten it, fan it out. Trying not to cut any hackle while I'm doing it, but cut it about the length of the hackle. And there you go. And a little drop of head cement on the underneath where we put the whip finish. Always touch a hair or two along the way and have to kind of wipe things off, but that's the finished fly. And I've had a lot of luck with that. And you know, you could substitute materials as far as the body. The deer hair makes a nice wing, and you know, make it look like almost any mayfly that's out there. So here the usual, put in the materials and some descriptive material, list of materials and descriptive material. And if you hung in there this long, please stay tuned to the end and visit my Amazon site to learn a little more about me. Until next time, stay safe.